Hey everyone, join the chat room there. Tell us where you're from. We'll be right with you in just a second. Hey, mic check. Can you hear us? Say something, Kyle.
Hello.
We're in the house. Let us know if you can hear us, and once we have the sound check done, we are ready to go. All right, we are live. Prepping Academy host Kyle is in the house.
Been a little bit.
Been a while, but you're alive.
I'm still alive.
Everyone thought we killed you. I killed you.
That was like a year ago.
That was a long time ago. But Kyle is in the house. I'm going to go through a few quick announcements, and Kyle will probably make fun of me or poke me or something, just kind of the way it works here. So, hey, welcome tonight. Hey, so I do want to go over our list that we're doing this every Thursday night. And let's go back in time. On August 6th, we had, of course, Dr. Bones and Nurse Amy. Then we had Charlie Hogwood. Then we had Sam Kopler from Forward Observer. And tonight is Kyle. That's all I put was Kyle.
That works.
Kyle.
I don't really have it.
Prepping Academy.
I did download Twitter.
You got Twitter?
I do.
What is wrong? It's a conspiracy
Okay.
theory.
No. It's not conspiracy theory. So I tried Parlor. Parlor's crap.
Well, it's getting there.
No, it's crap.
Okay.
It's like a conservative love fest with no other opinions. And like, great, if y'all want to go over there, fine, have at it. Twitter's full of everyone, and it's just people actually like share their ideas and don't just repin Fox News.
Okay, Kyle. It's not your time yet.
Okay.
Okay. I still got a few more announcements here. And so next week, let me tell you, I'm going to say this as nice as possible. EMP Shield, they wanted to be on the show. They sent me some free EMP shields. I put one on my car, not once, not twice, 3 times. A lady. Oh, that's a song.
We talking about 3 times what?
He has brushed me off and says he can't do it next week. So you know what?
I've seen a lot from them though lately.
I know, but
You know,
if they send me like a gift basket, I may
there's
reconsider
another
it.
company out there now too that's selling them. It's slightly cheaper.
Okay. So next week it's going to be special programming.
Like Call of
You know,
Duty?
I asked Donald Trump to come on.
No, please.
Okay, I'm kidding. So next week, to be determined, I'll let you know. Then the next week is I'm doing my online privacy, and I may have a special guest, so special that he has lived by an alias for like 15 years. No, it's not you. Then we're going to have Scott Hunt on, Engineer 775 on YouTube. And then we're going to have Pastor Felix. So we're going to talk about end time Bible prophecy and what is going on now and what is going to happen in the future. You're all going to die.
I mean, we're guaranteed that.
No, we're not.
Yes, we are.
No. So anyway, that's what's coming up here soon. Here's kind of a little photo. I don't even know why I have that in there anymore. So I did write a book. This book, in 2 weeks, you'll be able to download it for free. It's The Case for Christian Preparedness. You can buy it on Amazon, get it on Kindle or Audible. But in 2 weeks, when Pastor Felix and I do our little show, I'm going to have this as a free download to people from Amazon. Okay. So support PrepperNet. We have billion people right now. Okay, no, we don't. But we've got organizations throughout the United States that we meet in roughly 80 cities. We got city leaders. We had our conference call last night. Went good. We're doing a bug out retreat in October, and we're planning that. A lot of things going on. Groups are starting to meet again because of this China virus. That's what Trump calls it. Yeah. So, and if you really want to support us, you can become a premium member. Usually this content that we're providing tonight is always only for premium members, but because there's a pandemic going on, we're kind of opening up for everyone. This will end though.
That is me. I'm cheap.
Yes. So, next thing is we're doing a huge giveaway. You don't even know about this, do you? You don't know about any of this stuff. We're giving away a sun oven. There's one right up there, ready to be given away. There is legacy food. Do you see any legacy food in this building?
No.
You don't see that, and what's behind you. So anyway, it's over $1,000 we're giving away. So go to that link, preppernet.com/giveaway, and you got to register to do that. We're giving away that on August the 1st. I think that's the night Felix and I do the big
August
thing.
the 1st?
Yeah.
Yeah.
October 1st. October 1st. And in a minute, I'll be able to see your comments. I can't see them right now. And so I am a reseller for Legacy. I give great discounts. You got to become a member. And don't forget, if you buy Legacy, you eat it, you end up looking like this. Did you see that? If you eat Legacy, you end up looking like that.
Is that when you took a picture of me with my hair?
Yeah, whatever. So again, you can go to Legacy. You got to join. Even a basic member, you can join our discount buying program. And that is it for announcements. And I'm glad. I bet you are now. Boom, you're big screen now.
Oh, okay.
So they're the people. They're
That's what am
the.
I here for? said you had
You,
questions
I've got
for me.
tons of questions for you. They're
Yeah.
all written down right
I
here.
see blank paper right there, bud.
So we are so prepared for this. It is insane. I spent at least 14 days preparing for this.
Yeah, let's see. The last time I put notes on my phone, actually preparing for this was on August 22nd. So I've been prepared for a while.
Okay. So if y'all don't know, Kyle and I do a podcast. We stopped because Home Cheese lives in a part of the world where internet is just not,
It's just not good.
it's not
They
good.
just can't get their stuff together, no matter what I do. Right?
And so you can't do like a podcast when the guy sounds like that.
We tried doing it one night, but I think I was just working off the Wi-Fi, and I could hear a couple words,
Right.
and I just clicked and I'm done.
And so, and because of that and other reasons, we just kind of put it on pause. But he's back. We're back. We are live and in person. And this is awkward. The long table with usually it's just me in my lair. That's what someone called it the other day.
Layer.
Yeah, I like that. My wife calls it a barn every now and then. It's not a barn.
Doghouse.
No, I do have like animals really close though.
You do. With beady little red eyes.
Beady little red eyes, my little rabbits, which has provide poop for your garden.
They have lots and lots of poop.
You need any more poop because you
No.
bought your truck.
No, I'm good. I'm good. I got plenty of poop right now.
Oh, can't hear Kyle. Kyle is half volume of force. Do you think that thing? Well, let's do it like this then. We were trying to work on the setting of the mic, but I think that's the right setting. So you just got to talk up.
Is that better?
Is that
I'll lean in like this.
okay? Yeah, Kyle
We'll see.
talks soft. I talk kind of loud. I'll get further away, and I think we have it. Speak up. Everyone says can't hear Kyle. Kyle is weird.
Are you sure it's on?
I don't know. Why don't you try it?
You want to try to turn it the other way?
Try to turn it the other way. Yes. So there's a setting on this mic. Okay,
Is that better?
everyone. Okay, well, there's a delay of like 45 minutes here.
God, and you're the one talking about my internet.
So if it's worse, just let us know from this point on because the mic can do omnidirectional. It can do all different things because this is a professional mic here. So yes, it seems better, much better. Yes,
So I was right to begin with.
you were.
I was right.
You were.
That's excellent.
Okay. So better, everybody's saying better. Great. Yeah, that was my bad because
You just turned it down that way on purpose so they couldn't hear my digs on your
yeah,
stuff.
you know, a lot of
Yeah.
times when you talk, all I hear is no.
Yeah. Typical narcissist.
So Kyle, it seems to me that you have survived the pandemic to this point,
I have. Yeah, I haven't gotten sick. No one's gotten sick. It's all good.
but you're living the hermit lifestyle.
I'm not completely hermit. I go to Lowe's.
You go Lowe's.
I go to the barbecue place.
Okay.
You know, I do things. I got chickens.
So this guy, let me tell you, he has done at least 5 or 6 projects this summer.
Oh God, no, it's more than that. I have like a running list of projects. I go
Like,
through.
let me think. You redid the whole garden. You dug up more. You put a fence around it. You did a water drainage or catchment system.
Yep, about 160 gallons.
You redid your barn, your lair.
Yep.
You painted it. You put. I mean, you've done and you've done some truck work. You've been working hard.
Yeah, I stay busy. Burned a ton of brush. I got chickens, raised chickens for the first time. Didn't kill a single one yet.
Yeah. Well, and you won't take any of my rabbits either, but that's fine.
No,
that's fine.
yeah, that's I'm good.
I'll kill it for you and give it to you.
I never realized how much poop chickens actually make.
I
They
can
poop a lot.
I can promise you, rabbits poop more.
Yeah, but you know the nice thing, rabbits don't really stink.
Well,
Chickens stink.
chickens stink.
Yeah.
How old are your chickens?
12 weeks.
Have you named them?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you want the names?
Yes.
Oh, there's Dottie, Snickers, Nugget, Rosie, Teeny, and Sunny.
So apparently you didn't name them.
I named 3.
Okay.
I named
You
3.
named 3. Okay.
My favorite's Dottie. Dottie, from a young age, bonded with me. She likes to fly up on my arm. Sometimes she flies up on my head and shits.
That I would eat that chicken that night.
She's a sweet chicken, though.
Mm.
Yeah.
So I got a scar right here. You can't see it. Y'all can't see it right here.
Yeah.
That rabbit, because rabbits will absolutely just go to town with their black back claws.
Mm-hmm.
That was at least 5 years ago, and it's just not going away. We ate that rabbit. I enjoyed it. I put barbecue sauce on that sucker. That ticked me off.
I just smoked it. I bet smoked rabbit's good.
Yeah. Oh, it is. Oh, it is.
That's
So-
one of my next projects. I want to build a smoker.
So let me tell you, Kyle is great in the fact that he puts things together and he believes everything.
I don't believe everything.
Did we land on the moon?
I mean, I believe we landed on the moon. Do I believe that everything in the entire narrative is true?
Okay.
No.
Is the earth flat?
No, the earth is not flat.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay. So, but Kyle is huge in conspiracy theories. And if you listen to our radio shows, we used to have a Kyle's conspiracy theory of the night.
Yep.
And some of the things were crazy. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk a little bit about the pandemic. We're going to talk about.
I do just want to say,
Okay.
I seen an article by the Christian Post that said that evangelicals are denouncing QAnon as
I saw that.
satanic.
Yes.
And here you've been talking more about QAnon, and I've never believed it because I keep hearing so
But
much
it's-
information that's generalized, and I feel like it's a load of crap. All these secret indictments. And I know what you're going to say, but I'm just going to say this. Considering the Christian Post, their latest stance on a number of things, maybe it has a little bit to it.
First of all, I'm not a big fan of the Christian Post.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Considering they're coming out against it,
Yes.
I'm kind of like, okay. And maybe it's among the 3,000 evangelicals that said that you just need to go ahead and get the COVID-19 vaccine when it comes out too. Because mRNA technology has been around for so long, and we should just trust Moderna.
Yes.
I might go off.
So
on that.
you know what? You're pointing the finger at me though,
I did.
because you did. Because I have been watching this show on YouTube called X22 Report.
Yep.
And he is one of these big followers of Q. And never until like a month ago is the first time I ever. And you've never heard me talk about a conspiracy theory.
Not really.
Because I've always like think you're kind of psycho for believing a lot of these.
But
And now all of a sudden I'm watching the X22.
But what's
report.
interesting is, as much as I've been into conspiracy theories, I've never gotten my information from QAnon. Never.
So it's just interesting. It's entertainment.
Yes. Whereas, see, a lot of people, they get their information from YouTube. And then some of us, we actually do things like read medical journals, read declassified documents from the government.
Okay, Kyle. Okay, what's your IQ?
I don't want to say.
Yeah, go ahead and say it. he
It's,
thinks he's smart.
it's 160
Divided by.
divided by 2. Yeah, no, it's 160.
Oh gosh,
It's not that smart, but it's
Yeah.
smarter than.
Someone. Cowboy said he likes X22 Report.
Well, that's great.
Yeah. See, if Cowboy is my friend Matt Gott's in the house. You don't know Matt, do you?
It's the name sounds familiar.
Yeah. It's so anyway, so we're going to talk a little bit about his conspiracy theories. We're going to talk a little bit about, did you see the video? No, we haven't planned any of this.
What?
About the young guy that shot 2 people.
Yes.
So we're going to talk about that a little bit.
We're probably going
We're going to talk about writing,
Yeah.
BLM. We're going to talk about everything going on today. And then we're going to tell you what you need to do so you don't die. Now we're gonna
Maybe.
go to commercial. Oh wait, we don't have commercials.
That's not how that works.
Darn! Thought we
Wait,
could just
wanna
go
do
to
some
commercial.
paid advertising for some gold company or something like that.
Yeah. So let's start off with, first of all, what does Kyle, conspiracy theory king? I mean, what do you think is going on with this pandemic? Do you really think it's what's your take? I won't even lead you in the question.
Well, I mean, if anyone's watched previously, I think they kind of have a consensus that, it was planned.
So you're saying pandemic?
I still believe it was planned. I don't think this was by just happen chance. The information that came out of Canada, whenever they had the scientists there that they found out were stealing information, and they know that they had that virus there. I think it's just, there's no such thing as coincidence. Things happen for a reason. I think everything that's going on right now has been politicized. They're trying to drive down the economy. At least one side is. Mm-hmm. I think that people's fears are somewhat founded. I don't think that we need to be mouthing off at people because they tell us to put a mask on. I personally wear a mask whenever I go out in public, and it's just out of consideration for others. I've never had an issue breathing. I'm just going to say that. I know a lot of people get up in arms about it.
You don't say I can't breathe?
No,
okay.
no. I mean, I'm perfectly fine. I try to avoid people just because I care about other people's safety.
Well, and also you don't like people.
I don't like people.
So this pandemic for you works out perfect.
Yeah. So and that's one thing I would say too is, I've heard a number of people talk about psyops and intelligence agencies and different sort of torture methods. Isolation is a form of a psychological torture. Mm-hmm. And I think we were talking before the show, a lot of people are suffering. There are a number of Americans. I want to say at one point there was about 30% of millennials who were on some sort of anti-anxiety medication. In my personal life, I've seen a lot of close friends, acquaintances, they're losing their minds. They're not reacting intelligently, and they're jumping to a conclusion, or they're throwing stuff at the wall and seeing whatever will stick so they can make some changes in their life so they can have some sense of normalcy. I really feel for those people. Mm-hmm. Personally, this could go on for about 5 years, and I'm still going to have the same look on my face and not care. I don't like people. I tolerate you.
No, you don't. But if someone was struggling across the street, someone was trying to beat them up or bully, or someone needed medical attention,
I would help.
You would be there.
Yeah, I'd be the first one there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that might be why I don't like people, because I feel like
if someone was getting out of their car and they fell down, you would also just laugh at them too.
No, I wouldn't do that. I would.
Yeah, you would. That would be me.
It depends on the severity of the injury.
But you don't mind helping people if they truly need help.
Absolutely.
And you just don't come across people a lot with that need help.
I think honestly, one of my things is, and even when it comes to this, this is kind of an outlet for me where I actually speak my mind, but a lot of times I just kind of keep to myself. I'm really good at self-actualizing, but people don't always follow that. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like when you do math work, and like I was in high school, you do the problem and the teacher would say, show your work. Mm-hmm. I never showed my work. And I actually told one of my algebra teachers at one point, I said, it's not my fault you can't do it in your head. That's kind of how I feel with a lot of things. I just feel like people should see the answers, but they don't. And I get frustrated.
So, wow.
Yeah.
So you believe the pandemic. So so I'll tell you, y'all don't know Kyle is an alias, maybe not. And he might not live around here, but he's one of the most prepared people I know. And not only with items, but with knowledge and skills and pretty much all around.
Yep.
And so were you in all your preparations, were you ready? What were you not ready for, or what has surprised you through this pandemic?
Honestly, nothing. There was a few things that whenever this all began, I went out like everyone else and I got a little bit more food. Probably the thing that surprised me the most was just that I hadn't completed some projects that I had on my kind of like my to-do list for years, and they're done now. I mean, there's not a whole lot else that I have left to do, and I feel good. There's literally one item that I want to get.
And I know what that one item is.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the guy that has the bug out. He's got everything. But I'll tell you 3 things that surprised me. 3. One was the government lying to us about masks in the beginning, about N95 mask. Because I have N95, and I know you have N95.
Mm-hmm.
The second surprise goes along with that is, what are these other stupid masks we're wearing?
Yeah.
I mean, it makes no sense. I mean, sure, study after study is showing that these cheap masks these people
They
wear,
don't work.
they may anyway. The other thing that surprised me is in my preparations, in my stash of goods, we needed more candy and more chocolate.
That explains something. I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
that's why I'm on a diet now. But we were like, we got everything. Man, I'd like to have some. So we found we found it big time. It's Werther's caramel with white cream or something.
Oh, see, I
It's
like
in-
just the plain Werther's.
And we were ordering them just all the time. They're just being delivered to the house, and now I'm gotta have a diet. But that was so I have hard candy in my preps.
So just so everyone knows, whenever you're packing candy for your prepping, hard candy is bad for your teeth. So if you want to crack a tooth or get a cavity during the apocalypse,
True, but it's so all my buckets that I have stored and we have at our place, we in every single bucket we put little treats in there, hard candy or other things on top of, like if it's a bucket of rice or whatever.
Yeah.
On the top, because there's always a lot of things and we would put that on the top. So every time we open the bucket, there's some treats we can hand people. I thought it was pretty fun.
Yeah.
So nothing really surprised you.
I mean, there were little things that I reacted to, and like, whenever this all started, we ordered things like chloroquine, hydroxychloroquine, and
We got that
picked up
quickly.
extra different medications. I already had a lot of stuff that I felt would treat some of this naturally, because whenever this started, before we even went into lockdown, I was already reading medical journals coming out of China and South Korea. So I
we were
tried to
sharing
react
them
to
back
that.
and forth.
And I also have a brother who happens to be VP for a major pharmaceutical company. I got information from him to help me react to that.
Mhm.
But aside from that, the majority of my preps, I'll tell you honestly, I've not bought any more ammo because I was good. I was good 8 years ago on stuff like that. And it's not, I would say the only thing here is a virus wasn't something I planned to think that this was going to be the beginning. I thought
Right.
maybe economic collapse or an EMP or some sort of attack, and then this sort of thing would happen, just because there wouldn't be the medical care to actually handle that, even if it was some sort of flu virus that outbroke.
Yeah, and a lot of the books I've read though, with Robert Bradyansky, author here in Charlotte, Charlie Hogwood, and there's another book, and they're all pandemic books, and it's kind of Charlie's actually starts in like Wuhan.
Yeah.
And he wrote that,
You mentioned him.
he was part of the planning committee for the pandemic.
Maybe that's how it's. Stranger things have happened.
Not Charlie. He's too good of a guy. So, with that, have you and I know we're talking probably more down the line of people that are preppers here and people that are prepared. We'll get to some new things in a little bit, but what's some things that you assessed your situation, you go, I may need a little bit of more of that, or like, did you go out and buy toilet paper?
I went out and got a little bit of more toilet paper. Probably the biggest things I did is I made a run to like U.S. Foods, and I picked up more
We
rice
both
and
went to
beans.
U.S. Foods.
Basic things, because here's the thing: I don't want to have so much that I can't travel with it, but I want to make sure I have a comfortable amount.
Right.
And I feel like I'm at that comfort zone right now. I may pick up a few other little things. for years I've stocked up on things like spices and gravies and bouillons and things of that nature. And it's not stuff I'm really planning on trading, but I have no reason to have 5 years worth of food because that's not what I can move with. I want to be mobile.
Right.
That's one of the things I would say, and it's not to toot my own horn. I'm not, saying no one else has this, but if something happens, I can be wheels up in 30, 45 minutes with everything, and everything is packed, labeled, ready to go.
That's truth.
Yeah.
I mean, that is true.
I mean, how long would it take you to?
Well, this isn't my stuff.
But if you had to, if you were a prepper, and this was your setup.
This is going to be my neighbor's.
Yeah, but I'm saying if you
Right.
had to,
Right.
you'd be doing it a while.
Because I will wheels up, gone, and this first come, first served to the neighbors. There's not a lot here, but there's some.
Yeah.
So
Another thing I say is, just making sure you have all your documentations, photos, stuff like that. A lot of people forget that sort of thing. All my stuff's kind of, I think I got that a little bit from you because you had a lot of your stuff already in digital format, scanned and done.
that takes years of work.
Yeah.
To put it all on. Actually, I don't have my car keys. So I put all my documentation on a thumb drive, and it is totally secure. I mean, NSA could crack it, but other than that, it would take another nation state like China or someone to crack it. Really, it's just got that encrypted. So, so you didn't really see a lot that you needed, but the funny thing is, we prepared for this, and I'm sure a lot of you guys prepared for this, but to see your neighbors in the first few weeks of this panic,
Yeah.
and buying toilet paper, they were out of their mind. I mean, what do you crap more during the pandemic? I don't know. I guess you could if you get sick.
If you're eating junk food or,
Well,
maybe. Eating 5 pounds of Werther's candies every day.
But people didn't know what to do, so they went for the basics. They went and got water because so it was kind of interesting because and I don't know if you remember this, Union County had is it E. coli in the water. So at the same time the pandemic started, and all of a sudden, boom, around here water was gone in the beginning, and then toilet paper was gone, and there's canned food and still on the shelves, and so people didn't know what to do. I do like the fact now that they're a little bit more educated on we need to have some food, we need to have some toilet paper, we need to have some water, so we don't run out at the last minute to get it.
Let me turn this around, and I want to see your answer on this. Considering how people reacted, what's the biggest thing you took away from the reaction?
Well, the biggest thing is that no one's prepared. That's for one. And if it had been anything other than a pandemic, I think martial law or the police would have shut down the grocery stores, and people wouldn't. They would literally, because that's in the plan. We've read the plan.
No.
That way, if something serious happens, they're going to shut down the grocery stores and the gas stations. When I say that, military and police, so things can be rationed to people.
Mm-hmm.
And what a hurt they would be in. So, but that's apparently not the answer you're looking for, because I could see it on your face.
I'm just thinking about the lack of morality in the country, and just seeing how people react psychologically to what happened so far. And it was very manageable. And I'm hearing more and more information. And this is one thing we'll get to whenever we talk about kind of my current theories of what's going on. I'm hearing a lot more about coming fuel shortages, coming food shortages. And we already see what's going on with riots across the country.
Right.
That is going to push people over the edge.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as I try to see things from every different angle, I'm having a hard time seeing where there's going to be any resolution for this country where we're ever going to be able to get back to any form of peaceful everyday life.
So I just wrote down, because I told you I always take notes while we talk, because
I take notes a week in advance, and you take
no, I take notes to things you say. I do want to make this statement, and I think you'll agree 100% with what you just said. This isn't over yet.
No.
Now, the pandemic may be over or coming down. We may have some spikes for sure, but the food crisis that's coming, there are things that are going to happen that we know they're going to happen. We know there's going to be a food shortage.
Mm-hmm.
We know that all the grain and everything China's been buying. We know that the crops were decimated in like the Northwest up there.
Yep.
That weird storm, straight line wind. What is it called?
The derecho, which is
Yes.
funny because I can remember learning years and years ago back in school about straight line winds and how bad they can affect
Mm-hmm.
anywhere, really. And you've never heard about it for years, and then suddenly now you have straight line winds. It's
And
usually something that's observed.
The crops are destroyed.
Yeah, and it's usually honestly something that's observed out in space on other planets, because it's almost like a sideways.
Only you would know that.
I do. Anyways, I can remember years and years ago, Professor
With the
talking
little
about
aliens.
those. It's the little aliens. But I can remember years ago talking to a professor and him talking about 200-mile-per-hour plus winds.
Mm-hmm.
And we're fortunate that we've never seen those, but
Boom.
the Earth is going through some things.
And then, not to frighten people and not sure what's going to happen, but there's a dam, the world's largest dam in China, that when they built it, they actually said it changed the rotational speed of the Earth. Very slightly, like less than a second, but it did. And some people are predicting that thing's going to absolutely break.
Damn.
And if that does, the Wuhan area, gone. I'm talking like a 25-foot wave will go right through that city and keep on going down to, is it Shanghai as well? 8 foot of water will be resting in Shanghai so what does that mean? All car parts. That's where they're all made.
Yeah.
Their food, their fertile land. Most of it is right. Not most of it. A lot of it is right there.
Mm-hmm.
Antibiotics, a lot of medicine, all PPE. That everything you get, these masks, they're all made in Wuhan. We're making them now in America.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of things that would affect if that dam broke. It's called Three Gorges Dam?
I think so.
And look it up.
And you sent me some photos, and I definitely see it there. The dam is
And there's
shifting.
There's flooding above it and below it, and there's still tropical storms coming.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. That could be
Insert made in China joke here.
Yeah. But China last week did buy more grain and corn, and it has to do in part with the Trump making them in that deal more than they've ever bought ever.
Yeah. I think another thing important was whenever we talk about China, whether it be war, the pandemic, the dam bursting, everyone seems to forget that they have massive ghost cities. And what's ironic about the massive ghost cities is whenever you look up the information on them, 2020 and 2021 were the years that they were projecting to start moving their populations into those areas and away from their current cities.
And you can look that up on 60 Minutes, did a special on that. They go to China has these cities. If you don't know it, it's just mind blowing. Imagine taking like a New York City, and they built this out in the middle of nowhere. All the high rises, infrastructure, roads, no one lives there.
Yeah. Well, they're starting to.
Well, they're starting to.
They're starting
But
to.
they did several of these cities.
Yeah.
And we're talking it could literally house 1 million people plus.
And just so people know, I've actually talked to a nuclear engineer who helped design the grid structures for what's over there for those ghost cities. Their nuclear reactors are totally different than what they've designed previously. They actually have these things tucked into the mountains, so they cannot be destroyed. And if they are, they can collapse everything on there to contain them. I know a lot of people don't actually know that, because right now there's so many natural disasters going on. Like just with the hurricane down in Louisiana, they were worried about it going a little bit too far to the west and starting to hit, I think it was Houston's nuclear reactor.
Right.
And they were saying that could be a Chernobyl event for America. Our infrastructure, aside from an EMP, is incredibly vulnerable.
I agree. I do like the idea. I think Trump did sign an executive order to start doing another study to looking at our infrastructure and for EMPs and attacks for cyber attacks. But even Gary said about bringing manufacturing back to the U.S. That's huge. Who would think that a simple thing like a mask, we couldn't get them because we didn't make any of them in America?
Yeah.
And then who would think the government would lie to us and say, you don't need masks?
Yeah. There's definitely a battle going on within our government between different forces with different agendas.
Are you calling it the swamp?
I mean, I'm not. I think that there's proponents on both sides that
Right.
I would never trust.
Okay, so Kyle, everyone, we're living through this, and we read a lot of medical journals, and I honestly will tell you that I'm looking for bits of information I don't look at all the information. We both bought hydroxychloroquine
Mhm.
in the early days. I mean, like in the March timeframe. I mean, that was when it was hitting, because we were reading studies that were going on and that have already been taking place. So that, and then Trump mentions it. There's a whole war about hydroxychloroquine, and every single day it's amazing. More information's coming out that it works.
It does. I believe it does. Obviously, owning it,
Mm-hmm.
reading the medical journals, talking to my brother. If you've noticed over the past week or two, you've not heard a lot about the virus and the numbers. They're encouraging fewer and fewer people to get tested. The deaths have died down a little bit, but I think that's actually part of a reason. Not a lot of people have really been talking about this in alternative media, which is kind of disturbing to me. And I mentioned it to you, and you didn't know about it. I'm talking about the White House siege, which is planned for September 17th.
I did not know about that.
Um,
X22 hasn't talked about that yet.
I'm amazed. There's a bunch of liberal forums
White
that are
House
out there
siege.
talking about it. It's actually the same people that organized Occupy Wall Street,
Mhm.
which all have ties to the Tides Foundation, Bill Gates Foundation,
Soros.
Clinton Foundation, George Soros. They have connections to the Egyptian Revolution, and for years, and you can verify this, I have said they do not need to have protests across the entire United States. They need to have protests strictly at the White House.
And that's what they're going to do the 17th.
They are going to do it beginning September 17th, and they're going to be doing it for 50 days. It's going to take them up to November 6th, 3 days after the election.
The same people that did Occupied Wall Street. So it's going to be very well organized.
They've learned from their lessons, for sure, with Occupy Wall Street.
Mhm.
I think it's going to be more organized, and I think one of the reasons the media is playing this down, because usually it's the left media that's talking more about the dangers of the virus and the masks and the medications and everything, but now they're reeling it back in. They're talking more about political things. And I just want to, there's a few keywords I want everyone to pay attention to. So over the next few months, going up to the elections, and if this does follow kind of that Egyptian revolution blueprint, you're going to hear a lot about police brutality. You're going to hear more about electoral fraud, high unemployment, living wages and low minimum wage, food inflation, food crisis, and political censorship.
So I'm pretty disturbed that you actually have notes for the show.
I prepared. It's like I've been reading and researching for a month.
Right. For this. And, you know, I mean, that is true. I mean, well, we're not going to get in. I don't want to get too much into politics here.
Open Society Institute. That was the one I couldn't think of. And that is the one that's specifically tied to, there's a direct tie between George Soros and Occupy Wall Street.
So imagine this. All these people that are protesting, that are paid from these different organizations, I'm sure Black Lives Matter are going to join them in.
Okay, I'm going to say something real quickly.
Is it going to get a shot?
It might get me shot.
Okay.
I don't care about people's political affiliation. I really don't. I think that there's good and bad on both sides. Whenever it comes to BLM, I absolutely disagree with looting and rioting and calling it reparations or whatever, but I do agree that there needs to be better dialogues in this country. It's really hard to sit down with someone and have a conversation when you're yelling in their face. but I'll just take us to what happened here most recently. The 17-year-old, ironically named Kyle, who shot and killed 2 men. A 17-year-old boy, regardless of the condition of this country, has no business being out in the streets with an AR-15. I don't care what he did beforehand. I don't care about his police training or whatever he was going through, whatever he thought his future was going to be. That's irresponsible parenting. I have a 16-year-old that I would never send out or allow to go out in the streets with an AR-15 or with a pistol. I wouldn't allow him to go out into those presents whatsoever, no matter the situation. And I think, would you send any of your kids out?
No.
Are we at that point?
No, absolutely not. Not at this point in the game, and not to protect. So he was going out to protect, I think, a car lot, wasn't he?
Something. He was out there cleaning graffiti,
And you
doing other
can't
things.
protect. I mean, you can stand out there with a gun, but you can't shoot someone because they're stealing something from you.
Yeah, and this is the thing: property can be replaced.
Right.
I understand. These are people's livelihoods, but let them do what they're going to do, and let that reflect on them alone. We don't need to be
Now,
out there.
I do agree with the 17-year-old kid shouldn't have been out there. Someone in his family or friends should have said, "Dude, don't do this." But he did. That doesn't take the rights away that he does have when he does it, though.
But is the weapon legal?
I don't know,
Everything I've read thus far,
because a
says the
17-year-old
weapon is
can
not,
own a AR-15.
but they're saying he illegally obtained it. I don't know how. That's what the initial reports are.
Mhm.
I think as a parent, as a Christian, as someone who sees the division.
My kids are smart enough not to do that.
Yeah, but the division going on in our country, this has gone on too long.
Mhm.
There needs to be better dialogue. There needs to be clear heads and people to sit down between black, white, police, government, everyone, and figure out some better answers. I've been a big supporter, I guess I would say, of less than lethal rounds
But
for cops for years, because a lot of people don't realize that 200% more whites are killed every year by cops.
yeah, more white people are killed by cops. But here's the thing. I also want to say, if you get pulled over by a cop, obey his orders.
Okay.
No matter, I don't care who you are, obey, because the worst thing that can happen to you is go to jail. But when you threaten or have a knife, show something, or listen, even if you're disrespectful, but they are to enforce the law. They are at a disadvantage when they approach everyone because they don't know what's going on. But every single incident that has caused riots, if the person would have just listened to the officer and to his commands, then nothing would have happened.
I'm going to be real.
Nothing would have
I'm going to
happened.
be real blunt, and you can disagree if you want to. I understand what you're saying, but the respect is a two-way street. Just because you have a badge does not mean that your life is more valuable than mine. Plain and simple.
But you're assuming that the police officers went in there with a motive, and we don't know that.
I'm not. No. Their reaction to what happened up there, firing 7 shots at that man whenever he was getting into his vehicle, they had not seen a knife until after they searched the vehicle. They had no idea what he was doing.
I think.
And regardless,
I think it was on the police scanner that he was reported having a knife.
Okay. Regardless,
And it looked like a crumpet, by the way.
regardless,
You know what a crumpet is?
yes, I'm very well
Okay,
aware.
I've got mine right here in case
Yes.
you get out.
And in
of
case I
line.
act up,
Yeah,
No.
I can't find it.
no reason he couldn't have been tased.
I agree.
It's just like what happened with George
Especially,
Floyd.
yeah.
There needs to be better training. There needs to be. I can't even go into it because we need like 5 hours to go into all this.
Right.
But if anyone's ever heard of swatting, we all know that we can be at any point. Someone can say something, report one of us, and your door can be kicked in, and you can have a SWAT team rush into your house. And I'll never forget one guy years ago, whenever I was first getting into prepping, maybe not first getting into it, but years into it,
When you were 9.
this guy had his wife and his child at home. His wife seen a man with an assault rifle outside her window of her child's room. Told her husband went to go grab his gun. Cops kicked open the door and fired, I think, almost 70 rounds that hit him. Killed his dog that was in a crate. The guy was a war veteran. Had no idea what was going on. They had the wrong house.
You know, I mean,
I've heard a bunch of people say, and it pisses me off because 10 years ago, preppers were saying and complaining whenever Obama was president, don't militarize the police. What's going on here? Why does a cop, why do the, CMPD, why do they need an MRAP?
MRAP, yep.
But now
we see why.
But now you're saying it's okay.
Right.
But there's other issues that are going on
Right.
here that we could have addressed differently.
So,
yeah,
that's my karma.
What's the vote? They're like, Kyle's crazy. Go ahead and cut him.
Yeah. So this is like
Double-sided.
razor sharp on both sides. And you hold it like this with the little ring in your finger there so they can't, because a lot of times you don't know this, but when you're in a knife fight, when you put your hands down, because you've had your arms so tense when you put your hands down, a lot of people drop the knife. And they don't know that. So unless you've been in a knife fight and you've done that and you're so tense you drop your hands down to rest for just a second, you drop the knife, then that's bad in a fight.
Yeah.
And so that's why they have the ring, and then you can still swing, punch, block, everything you need to do. And every time you do it, you're going to get sliced open like butter.
I feel like you change subjects too easily.
Well, I did. I just wanted you to remind you that right here, of course, I have my Glock. So just don't get out of line, Kyle.
No, I'm gonna try really hard not to. But going back on what we were talking about September, there's still millions of Americans that are employed. People that are still waiting on the additional $300, $400, whatever it's going to be. I don't expect to see that anytime soon. I think between the DNC, the RNC, it's going to be probably end of September before we hear anything. And honestly, our politicians don't care about what's happening in the everyday American life.
Well, Pelosi said, why would I sit down and talk to Trump? He doesn't deserve my time to talk to him. She said like today. That's the summary of kind of what she said. They're not going to, they're not working together, which we can't expect them to do that.
Well, but here's the problem is they don't see what comes next. If Americans can't get food, if Americans can't get fuel, if Americans can't get back to work, what happens? Do you know why General Petraeus was so popular? Because he actually had a plan to put people to work, to actually have things to do, to keep them from committing crimes and joining more organizations to commit terror attacks. So
let's talk about some conspiracy theories. Now, I'm not a big conspiracy theory guy, and everyone, but man, there's some crazy things going on right now.
There are so many things going on. So many.
And so, you feel the pandemic is planned, and they planned it out. It started in North Carolina. It did at University of Chapel Hill when that virus started, and then they shipped it to Canada, and then they shipped it over to China.
When I've talked to people,
have you seen the new video? You remember that they interviewed this lady that is a part of. They took it down immediately. She worked with Fauci, and she said vaccinations are just absolutely crap for the last 20 years. It's not real science. Well, they did a follow-up to that. I'm sure people will post that. And it's gosh, that's compelling stuff. But anyway, so what conspiracy theory?
Surprised me. My brother, again, being in the pharmaceutical industry, he told me specifically what vaccines to avoid with my son whenever he was born. And looking at the information that comes out for some of those, like the chickenpox vaccine. I've talked to children who have had shingles. They never got chickenpox. They just went straight to shingles because they had the vaccine. But anyways, so what's going on? Where do you want to start? Do you want to start in America? You want to go to space? What do you want to talk about?
Oh, you do have a space one too.
And that's the one that bothers me the most.
Okay, let's talk about the space one, because I'll make fun of you every time we talk about this. I promise I might do it here.
There's more and more evidence, we'll say, people talking about the Planet X, Nibiru, whatever you want to call it, coming in.
NASA hiding it from all the photos.
Well, because of the angle that it's coming in on, they've shut down a bunch of the satellites, a bunch of the observatory towers. And what I find interesting is for so many years as I've been researching things, there's usually 2 or 3 sources. I'll hear someone like Steve Quayle come out and talk about something, or I'll hear Paul Begley, or I'll hear, another one of my favorites is a guy named Stephen Bendanoon. They'll come out and they'll say something, and they'll have a source, and they'll discuss a little bit of this information, kind of give some of their foundation for it. The space stuff is most interesting to me because right now it's not 2 or 3 sources. It's like 15 sources, and they're all almost saying the exact same dry throat. I need more energy drink.
You got COVID?
Yeah, I know. There's more and more people that are coming out talking about this.
So tell me what is it? Tell me
specifically is, and I've heard this for years, is that we are traveling through a region in space that we have not been in a very long time, and there is basically a very large debris field. And as we get into this, and I'm sure more and more people have seen stuff about space weather, they've seen more Earth changes. We've had an increase in storms, increase in earthquakes, but we will start to see more asteroids start to make it through Earth's magnetic field, and they will start to not burn up. They'll start to make it into the Earth, causing fires all over the place. And then eventually we're just going to start getting pelted. A lot of what I've heard too specifies that the United States is probably going to take the brunt of all of those.
So you believe NASA's hiding this one spot in space, which I've seen that, and they're hiding it so people can't see it. And you saying there's a debris field coming to the United States. They calculated the Earth's rotation as it's going around the sun,
because it's
going to hit the United States.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of math there.
There is. There's a lot.
But doesn't universities and normal sky watchers have powerful enough telescopes
to
do, see?
But if they do, and NASA also has them, why is NASA missing things that they just see? Oh, well, that one just flew right by, just missed us by a hair. And we know that there's a large one coming in. Well, not too large. They're saying it'll likely burn up, but coming in September 1st. There's more coming in September 22nd. And they do post
There's
stuff.
one coming right near the election.
Yeah.
I did see that.
And one of the things I want everyone to be aware of too is, and this has been around for years, this is not just a me conspiracy theory. People know, you're probably familiar with the Star Wars project.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's been technology out there for years where they've talked about shooting tungsten rods at the Earth, accelerating them, and they would act basically like a missile or like a meteor striking the Earth and causing damage. So even if they put this information out there, that is a tool that they can utilize to fearmonger. Like a pandemic.
Okay. Are there little aliens riding these asteroids coming in?
I don't believe in aliens.
Oh, you don't believe in aliens?
I don't believe in aliens.
So the weird thing is, I have seen actually on NASA site where people showed me where they are blocking this one, all the photos of outer space. They never show this one area.
Yeah.
And they're hiding it from us because China can see that.
No.
They have technology to see that.
Might explain why they built their cities further inland. Their ghost cities.
So you think the asteroids are going to hit, the water's going to come up, and
there's a lot there. There's even biblical stuff there that gives us information that could point towards something like that.
The Bible says the stars are going to fall out of the sky.
Yep. And I mean, what does that sound like to what I would think, what you would think, what any sane American would think? Stars can't literally fall out of the sky. So what would it be?
I'm not going to. I'll cover that portion in 2 weeks.
In
with
2 weeks,
Felix. Yeah. Yes, about some of that stuff. So what's the one about? What's the other with the earthly one? Let's bring it down to the earth. What's going on with your what is truly controlling what's going on right now?
Are we talking about? I feel like you're alluding to something.
I'm just trying to figure out what you're believing, man. Trying to figure out what's in the head.
I think that there are a lot of things coming, whether it be space weather, whether it be Earth changes. They are observable scientifically.
Mhm.
I know we talked about the Schumann resonance.
Mhm.
We've talked about solar minimums.
That's going on starting solar minimum right now.
Yeah, there are a bunch of things that people don't realize. We're living creatures. We're not wood. These things that are going on in the earth, they actually affect our bodies. They affect our minds. There's scientific research out there. There's actually a doctor with the VA who recently got charged with something because he was using electromagnetic pulses on a Navy SEAL that had PTSD, completely rewrote his personality, and this guy just went AWOL, started committing crimes, doing drugs, doing all sorts of things.
Isn't there a
But-
movie about that?
I don't know, but there are things that are
Jason Bourne.
that wasn't electromagnetic waves.
Well, we don't know. Oh, okay.
You didn't watch the movie then.
Okay.
But there are things that are going on, and if you see people starting to act more and more crazy, look at things like the Schumann resonance. I mean, those are directly going to affect the human brain. And the government put out studies years ago where they were studying the effects of electromagnetic waves on people. And ironically, they found that the people that were least affected were actually religious. It didn't specify what religion, but it said the people who were actually able to maintain what they were doing, their cognitive abilities, were Christians. The non-Christian, or religious. The non-religious were actually doing things that they would record them on video. They would play that back to them after they were done with the experiment. They would say they couldn't even believe that they answered things the way that they did. They were doing things opposite of their sane personality.
So, in 2 weeks, we'll cover some of this, but there are things that are going to happen that's going to freak people out. And they're written in the Bible, so we know they're going to happen.
Yeah.
And so, it is interesting that some of the things you're saying are things that can be, you could literally tie that to places in the Bible. I'm not sure the timing's right yet, but that's interesting. Yeah.
And I just find it more and more fascinating that there's more people that are coming out talking about this. I've heard sources
Does
from
Quail talk about this a lot?
Quail does. And I used to think Quail was nuts. Just being honest,
Mhm.
I have the utmost respect for that guy right now. And one of the things that I think gets to me is, as you get older, you start to realize, hey, we're all going to die. It doesn't matter if it's a pandemic. It doesn't matter if it's asteroids. It doesn't matter if it's earthquake, volcano. We're all going to die. Steve Quail actually talks a lot about spiritual preparedness. And I know we've talked about that. We don't cover it as much doing the programming, I guess. Maybe you do on your own. But
I'm just that way.
yeah. You guys really need to be.
Joe Rogan actually talked about that a little bit. I don't know if you know that.
No, didn't know that.
Mhm.
That's good.
Mm-hmm. Joe's kind of a prepper.
I believe that.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that.
So, how do you see the rest of this year playing out?
Cool.
And then beginning of next year?
I see September. They're going to downplay the virus. They're going to upplay all the political stuff. They're really going to start trying to cover once that White House siege begins. They're going to start covering that. Depending on how Trump reacts to that, they're going to demonize him, especially if he starts trying to roll out the military.
Y'all look that up. That is true, and I've read it. That's the 17th. They're going to just absolutely just take over Washington, D.C.
Yeah. I don't think we're going to hear as much about the virus. I think it's going to continue to expand. But I think the unemployment checks, stimulus checks, stuff like that, that's probably going to get delayed. I think come November, we're going to start to see a food crisis. I actually seen a congressman talking about that. Fuel shortages, food shortages. It's really going to push home. It's going to be really hard for a lot of Americans coming around Thanksgiving and going into the Christmas season. Christmas shopping is not going to be the same. You're going to see retailers majorly affected. A number of retailers, like the one I worked for, going out of business, bankruptcy. It's going to be. It does. It does.
We're selling a lot of sun ovens.
Yeah.
Anytime there's fear and uncertainty, people think about how to be self-sufficient, and sun ovens definitely come in on their mind.
I hate to say this, but again, I think people are acting very immorally, are losing patience with their lives, are just kind of, like I said, just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what will stick and trying to get that sense of control back in their lives. And this is really the time whenever you have to be kind of like, actually, I need to hammer, everything down. I need to get prepared. And
and that's going to affect us because people, the suicide rate's going up.
I mean, I know preppers, and you're probably going to know the one I'm talking about, but I'm kind of worried about because you see people out there and there's panic. There's so much angst inside of them. And you're kind of like, okay, bud,
Yep.
I got you, but let's take it down a few notches and let's just breathe.
But in society as a whole, the suicides are going up. I think drug use is going up.
Drug use,
People
alcohol,
are
way up.
In a sense, more, I won't say disrespectful of the law. I'm not exactly sure how to word that. That's gone up. And this doesn't fix itself in a month or two.
No.
This takes years to get through. Our kids, imagine, and I was talking about this to he's headmaster of a school, the education of kids. Imagine, right? We have a system and a program that we put kids in kindergarten, and I know it's public schools, say what you can, but we also have private schools, and they go through this 12-year curriculum, then they go to college, but all of a sudden now they're going to have a gap in the middle where they stopped learning. They did some, because the online learning wasn't very successful for a lot of kids.
No, it really wasn't.
And so all of a sudden they're going to be expected to continue in this path. And some people may go, oh, they're just slow or they're way behind. And it's going to affect all these people. One day are going to graduate from high school, go to college, and that could affect things down the road.
I've never been a big supporter of public school.
I'm not either.
I think we've mentioned I homeschool.
My kids have never gone to public school.
But I think what's really important, people need to go back and they need to look at things like, I know I've sent you before, the interview with the ex-KGB agent, Yuri Bezmenov. And for a while there, YouTube and Google were trying to get rid of that video. It's back out a little bit more, but our children have been indoctrinated for years. That's why you see such rampant immorality. That's why you see such drug use. I mean, I hate to say that's why we see kids out in the streets protesting, burning buildings and all this sort of stuff. But the dialogue is really important right now. The country's not going to get better unless we actually start having the conversations. And that's really difficult when you have a pandemic. So
here's the thing, though. I would like to challenge everyone that's watching or listening here. I truly feel that the people that are going to suffer the most are our kids. And we are self-reliant and self-sufficient, and we store food and stuff. I think we need to take a more active role in our kids' lives when it comes to their education. Because you know what? I'm not saying this right now, but it might be, there's a time that teaching a kid how to do a garden, how to raise rabbits is more important than trigonometry.
Actual usable life skills.
Usable life skills. There's going to be, I'm not sure we're there yet, especially as we get closer to the biblical end of things. Skills will always trump knowledge. I think so.
Yeah.
My daughter right now is learning geometry. I was great in geometry. I'm like, yeah, I can help you with this. I made nothing but A's. I never studied. And she brought down like the first week of class. And I'm like, what is this?
Yeah. Totally different than whenever you were that age.
But we need to invest in our kids. At least, I mean, we buy all this stuff, but we need to invest in our kids. So when you're old, your son can be self-sufficient and take care of your butt, so you're not in a home, possibly.
I think it's really important, just when we're talking about children, having those talks, because I've seen mine personally be really, really stressed out from this. Having those conversations that you talk about, and use examples of tough times that you've gone through in life. I'm able to go back to like whenever I broke both my hips, or was out of work, different things like that, and I can talk about how we all go through seasons in life. This is one of those seasons for you. It just happens to be hitting everyone at the same time. And it's pretty tough, but you have to put yourself back in your perspective of your child. And not to be funny, but I told mine, I was like, hey, I understand where you're coming from. You're at this age, you're thinking about dating, you're thinking about one day, I want to go to college, I want to get married, I want to have kids. Am I ever going to have sex? And, he laughed at that, but I'm like, that's where our teens are. There's a lot of milestones in life. Mine just turned 16 yesterday. There's a lot of milestones in life that these kids are missing that we got to experience. And
I've worked with teenagers for 34 years.
Yeah. So, they
and
think about sex a
your
lot.
son, I work with your son.
Yeah.
I haven't personally, he hadn't been in my group, but that is the questions, because I have learned a lesson. I love to talk about Revelation and end time. I've studied it for over 20 years.
Yeah.
I've studied from the best teachers in the world, all different views. But when I start talking this with teenagers, they don't want to talk about it.
No, it's tough. It's tough thinking
because they want to do the things you're talking about, and they don't want to think about the things of, that's going to happen in the end. And I've had to learn that and pipe it down a little bit. I do want to say, when the pandemic happened, we were totally prepared. We didn't need to go get anything. Matter of fact, I was telling all my friends, I think I told my city leaders, I told people everywhere I could, listen, we don't know what's going to happen. Go buy food, buy lots of food, weeks, months worth of food, because if this breaks out, you don't want to be in the grocery store and get food. Just go ahead and get it now. You're still going to eat. So the first month, my family was like shut in. We're like, okay, we can take care of this. Had everything we need. We even had toilet paper. We had everything. We could literally go off the grid and still survive here. I got a well, got, everything we need. And we were good. Then after some news, reading the journals, we're reading the studies and what's going on, who's dying, who's not dying. We kind of I would say a month and a half into it, we're like, okay, kids, you can go over to their house. Kids, we started meeting with friends, and we were less scared of it.
Yeah.
But you kind of had to sit back. I think that's a good thing to do, is withdraw, protect your family, your hood, your nucleus, your provisions, maybe try to get some more, and then just keep your head up and with information, not just news. So we've all learned how bad the news is. We've learned that. So we know to get our news from other places, but shelter in place, and then over time, figure it out ourselves, make educated decisions for our family and what we're going to do. And then maybe relax. But I don't have a problem with people going in the beginning days and they didn't see. I mean, some families I know, they didn't leave the house for weeks. I mean, or months.
I think one of the things that bothers me from the initial reaction is how many people went out and bought guns.
Oh my gosh, guns are just crazy now.
Yeah. And that really concerns me, because the number of people that are buying guns
and
now,
they have no training.
They have no training, and it was all fear-based.
We should be able to buy cheap guns, though, in about 6 months.
I honestly, we didn't get to next year. I don't see there being good times in 6 months.
Oh, really?
No. I think there's a reason that the protest is lasting 3 days after the election. The election is going to be an utter nightmare.
I think that the election, America loses. My prediction, and here's the reason I say that: I didn't want to go political here, but if Biden wins, he's going to reverse everything and kind of destroy our economy, destroy America. I think that is their ultimate goal. If Trump wins, there's going to be looting and rioting all over America for months.
Yeah. I think we're going to see more stuff like what we had happen last night. I do not see 2021 looking any better. And we've talked about the Deagle report before. We've talked about the reduction of.
If you don't mind, we did a podcast on this.
Yeah.
So there's a company that is paid lots of money by by their government,
Nope, they're a private think tank.
private think tank, and I totally forgot about that until we were talking about that the other night. Share.
I mean, they're calling for basically what was it, like
Tell 'em what it
200,
is.
200. Well, which
I mean,
part?
What's the name of the report or the study?
Well, it's Deagle. It's
Deagle.
Deagle, like Beagle, but Deagle.
Deagle. Look it up. It's on the internet.
Yeah, you can find it easily. Just look for their population reduction. They basically were predicting, I think it was like 200 million
People.
reduced in the United States.
Yes.
And they still put out a comment later on because a lot of conspiracy theorists, like me, contacted them, said, hey, what's going on? Why do you think this? Et cetera, et cetera. And they put down stuff like, hey, we still stand by our report. We think it's going to be, people moving out of the country.
Well, they never really said exactly
But
until
why
maybe later.
But why would
But they're
200 million
saying
people
200
move?
million people population, America would decrease. These are supposedly some of the smartest think tankers for our. I mean, Deagle, look it up. I mean,
and I think whenever we talk about this, it's not just going to be riots and wars and famines and all that sort of stuff. I mean, there are legitimate earth changes going on. Anyone who has some time, look up the Cascadia subduction zone and see what's going on up right now. They're doing daily flights over that, still monitoring that region. You could be looking at Washington all the way down through Southern California. It's a very, very volatile area. And I'm not hearing that from one source. I'm hearing it from many.
A friend of mine wrote a book called Cascadia Fallen.
Yeah. We still have the New Madrid. We have earthquakes happening all over the place.
And you believe all this stuff, though.
There's science behind it.
I know.
There's legitimate science. I know a lot of people will look back and they'll say something like, well, Edgar Casey predicted this or so-and-so predicted this. I think a lot of it's 50-50 for me. Some of it might be real. Some of it I think is just nonsense. But I think when you look at the actual science that's being studied today, like I know at one point, I forget the lake, it was a couple of weeks ago, they were saying, LA is probably going to get hit by a big one pretty soon.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm hearing from a number of sources. Even before that report came out, they were saying that for months. They're saying, look for some huge event on the West Coast.
So North Carolina had an earthquake.
We did. I didn't feel it.
Someone slept right through it.
I did. I can actually sleep through a tornado. It's happened.
Yeah. But my wife, I guess it was like 8, a little bit after 8 in the morning. And I think Saturday or Sunday morning. And I was just laying in bed on my phone. And I got mad because I thought, I know this has happened to everyone. You're in a bed or you're next to a chair and the dog leans and he starts scratching.
Oh, yeah.
And the bed starts shaking. I literally thought my dog was doing that, and I was like, "Where's my gun?" I'm it's right here. But and then my wife was like, "Forrest, you feel that?" And then we figured out it was but you slept through that.
Yeah, I did. I didn't feel a thing.
So let's talk about this. So we both agree that things are going to get worse, not just pandemic related, but things in general are going to get worse over the next 6 months.
Every possible thing you can imagine, I think, is going to start happening. And I think whenever you was this Pastor Felix?
Yes.
Talk about that because there's literally Bible verses that say, what is it? Like a man will run from one thing only to be encountered by another thing.
Right.
Get away from that to have another thing happen.
And the Bible tells us everything that's going to happen. I mean, earthquake. I mean, all this stuff that's going to happen.
Yep. So I think right now, I hate my phone. I don't really like having a smart device, but I do love having my notes in there because I literally have a list that I go through and I regularly think about things I can make. And you guys need to be making lists to get things done, to be mobile, to have your food, to have your weapons, to have whatever you feel like you need and you can justify.
Mm-hmm.
But then you really need to figure out your soul. I don't care if you're Christian. I don't care if you're Muslim, whatever you are. Figure out what's going to happen whenever this life is over because you're not going to survive it. I mean, you could have a heart attack tonight. You could be sick with pandemic, the COVID nonsense. It could be riots. It could be looting. It could be asteroids. But none of us make it off this earth alive. That's one thing you're guaranteed. So figure that part out.
Well, I disagree a little bit of what you said there, but
Are you gonna like never mind. We're not going to get it. I know what you're saying, but I'm just saying
Yeah,
people
I
need
know
to
what you're
figure it
saying.
out. I'm not trying
So
to be.
we're saying, yeah, thanks for lifting us up there.
We're realists.
No, but seriously, there's going to be a food shortage. That's a scientific. Everybody says follow the math. The math states there's going to be, because of the. If you remember last year, all the flooding in the Midwest, and
Yep.
was kind of a terrible crop season. Or was that the year before?
There was a year before.
Okay, the year before. And so our grain, and we used to have a grain reserve. We don't have that anymore. Like food stored up. And China is having huge problems, or around the world, people are having problems with food. And we are one of the main suppliers of.
And we've really fallen short. I mean, I can go to a grocery store right now and I can go to pick up an orange. And I remember probably a year ago, I remember actually doing this and going in, I need to get a lemon for something. And it was from South Africa. And I'm thinking, how bad off are we that we need to be getting our lemons from South Africa? We're getting our food from all over the place. But I will guarantee you one thing. With what's going on right now, when the vaccine does come out, your ass isn't buying food without having that vaccine. If you think you're going to go into a line and stand there and be able to get what you need without one, no.
Well, do you think that's the mark of the beast?
I think it's very, very likely. I think if anyone has the time to do it,
The Bible predicts in the end, you won't be able to buy something without a mark.
no. I think if anyone has the time, and I would recommend, I've tried contacting him multiple times, Stephen Ben-Danoon on Israeli Live News. I've talked to the guy years past, but he's had some great interviews on his channel. He has some great resources. I believe Stephen's even former CIA, I want to say. Very well educated. He has some interviews on there talking about the Moderna vaccine, mRNA technology. I've heard Celeste Salom, Steve Quayle, others talk about this. There's not a chance I'm ever going for the vaccine.
Oh, wait.
No way.
You also believe in the 5G.
I do. And look.
Okay. I know. I just
we are
smiled.
not inanimate objects. We are not cartoon characters. We are living beings. We have electricity in our body. That's how our cells operate. These things affect our bodies.
So let me
All
tell
this.
you. I think we were eating that City Barbecue.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Kyle, I have 5G here. And he goes, what? He goes, I don't. And I showed him the phone and it said 5G. And you're like, and you started.
I didn't freak out, but I'm
you
like,
started
where is it?
looking for the antenna.
Because that's not really an area where you would think that it would already be.
I know. True.
And I mean, we do know that
But your face is like, what?
We do know that is legitimately the frequency that the whatchamacallit, I can't remember, but the device,
the weapon that the military uses.
yes,
To
active denial system.
Yeah. Yes.
Which I actually seen 2 of those about a month ago. Whenever
did,
I was
and you
driving,
sent
I
me-
sent you the photo.
You sent
of
me
it.
the photo.
Yep.
So that's the system that the military can pull up in a Hummer, raise the antenna, and just shoot beams, and it literally makes your skin feel like it's burning and crawling, and you have to leave, or you will.
Or they can crank it up and it will literally kill you.
Yeah.
That's why I still don't trust 5G.
See, and that's my theory: is if 5G was real, why are we letting these riots go along?
It's because they can serve a purpose.
They're saving it for the big one.
Yeah, I think this is all politically.
Okay.
It's being taken advantage of.
Okay, so we both agree that you need to get some more food. Right now is a good time to stock up on food. Buy things you'll eat. I have Legacy. You can join buy that, but I don't want to eat. Well, we did eat a lot of Legacy because my kids like Legacy, and it's easy as a parent. You're like, yeah, let's just cook
Go
that.
for it. Yeah. It's already cooked.
And so,
Basically.
but buy food. What other things should they? I mean, guns and ammo.
I'm big on force multipliers. I'm not big on night vision as much, but if you can afford to go thermal, if things look like they're about to hit the fan, hey, go all in.
And I will say that Kyle is looking for donations because he does want a thermal scope right now, and that's kind of his last big thing to get.
No, I mean, we were actually talking about it beforehand. I started doing cryptocurrency. I've been doing silver and gold. I think those are key to have, and I don't think they're going to work forever. But I think there's going to come a time whenever you start to see the dollar collapse that you're going to have a short window of time where you can offload that stuff.
Right.
People are going to want that, and it might come around in a secondary economy where if you don't get the shots, people might be willing to barter for those items.
So we think you need to get food, and you know what? The great thing about what we're gonna, because we haven't discussed this, we're gonna go through some more items, but we're not the only people telling you this.
No.
I mean, there are people that aren't even preppers that are going, you know what? We need to get food. There are pastors. There's even congressmen. Even the government. You know, they used to say have 3 days worth of food. They've extended that now.
Yeah.
And it's up to 7.
You know, and I'll say too, whenever we were talking about the space stuff, I didn't get to get this out.
Uh-oh.
One of them that actually allegedly is a FEMA employee who does auditing for the financial markets for whatever's going on with FEMA, said that there was a large proposal for city cleanup, trillions and trillions of dollars.
Mm.
And that's what alarmed them to contact someone and say, hey, I don't know what this is about,
Right.
but I'm hearing all this information about cities being destroyed. That could be the asteroids, that could be earth changes, it could be riots.
Sometimes I smile. Okay. So Kyle, so sometimes he hits me, but and don't watch the video on flat Earth.
No, the Earth's not flat.
It's not flat, but
It's not
they
flat.
trick you to think, wait, is it flat? And then you go, no, it's not. No. Okay. So food, I would say some gun and ammo. Why do you need guns and ammo? You know, I don't want to shoot anyone.
I don't. The guns and the ammo is
I have
not.
my gun right here.
Guns and the ammo is not for walking out on city streets. It's for protecting your home, your friends, family, loved ones, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But it's an imminent threat on your life, and I just want to remind everybody that doesn't just come down to rioters and such. That also comes down to your own government, because we definitely know, just through history, governments have killed millions and millions of people, and ironically, they're most successful doing it by starvation. So that's why you want to have the food and not just the guns, specifically speaking to gun preppers out there, because you're not going to get any of my food. Or maybe a small bag out of generosity.
You see all my bags of, so you know, we went to U.S. Foods.
Yeah.
I was probably in March, and we have food. I bought some provisions for. And why did I buy it? Do you remember why I bought it?
Handouts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I bought it for other people in case this thing got really bad. I wanted to have more food to give people.
Yeah.
And so I've been putting them in my bags. You can see my bags over there.
And I think that's really important because, like I've been saying, with everything going on in the country right now, whether you agree or you disagree with BLM, I'm not even going to bring Antifa into the whole thing. It's a whole other political, socioeconomic side of things. You need to be having dialogues, because the food, the guns, the everything that we always talk about is important. But the dialogue that you have with your neighbors and others is more important, because you need a support network. You need people who you know will have your back, and you need to have their back. Because without kindness and some love and freaking support in this world, we're going to look like Juarez or Czechoslovakia or something here in any minute.
It's a great time to talk to your neighbor about, I mean, you don't have to go and say, hey, let's put together a survival group, but it's a good time to talk to your neighbors 6 feet apart with a mask on and say, hey, how did y'all fare? I mean, did this catch y'all, off surprise? So, I won't say embellish the truth, but you don't tell them what you have and what you know, but say, hey, this kind of makes me think that I need to have some extra food, maybe some mask and hand cleaner and toilet paper at all times. And all of a sudden the other says, well, we've already started doing this, just in case there's a second wave. And so, I mean, there are millions and if not tens of millions of new preppers in America.
Yeah.
The problem is, will they stay? You know what I mean? Will they
Well,
have the mindset going forward?
I'm gonna be really blunt with this. I want people to look back in their history books and read about East Germany whenever the wall went up. You know how many rapes were reported?
I really don't.
There was almost 2 million rapes
In
that were actually
Germany?
in East Germany that were reported
Okay.
after the wall went up. If you think that America needs a revolution, if you think that thumping your chest and walking around with plate carriers on and going through these cities is going to help anything, no. Your wives, your daughters, your sons, aunts, everything, they're going to be free game to whatever happens, because as society collapses, and we have all major 5 points of societal collapse already happening in this country, when that happens, you're going to see the most heinous acts happen on U.S. soil that you never thought would happen. And it is, you think suicides are bad now? People are going to lose all hope. This country is going to be destroyed. And whenever it is down on its knees, our enemies are going to come and they are going to rape and pillage us even more. That's just bright and sunny, isn't it?
Dude, what the heck?
Hey, I'm just being...
When are they coming, man? I mean, what the heck? I mean, goodness.
It's the honest to God truth.
Well-
It's why I started prepping to begin with, because there's a conclusion to all this. There's an agenda to all this, and there's a conclusion. There's going to be an end.
Okay, I'm going to share a little bit about my 2 weeks from now, Felix and I. I have, studied Revelation, End Time Bible, other documents, everything for 20 plus years under the best teachers in the world when it comes to end times. I'm not saying that gives me a lot of leverage here, but I believe two things can happen to America. Only two things can happen to America. And I think I've shared this with you.
Mm-hmm.
So in the end, we're not going to go too much into this. In the end, everyone, first of all, you've got to be amazed that there's a book that predicted Israel was going to come back to be a nation about 2,000 years later. I mean, that in itself gives the Bible credence. But it said, it was written 2,000 years ago, and it said Israel was going to become a nation. But in the end, it says all nations are going to rise and attack Israel. Okay? So there's two things, because we are and it actually names the geographical areas to some of them. Russia and China and Turkey. It names these areas are going to be attacking them. So America right now, we are one of the nation of Israel's strongest supporter and defenders.
Mm-hmm.
So in the end, we are either going to be attacking Israel, and the only way that would happen is if our liberal social Democrats take over our government, because they're mostly conservative people defend Israel, and it's the Democrats and liberals that hate Israel. And I mean hate. And so either we're going to be so liberal that we are going to be one of the nations attacking Israel. And so that's why we're not named, because we are the largest power in the world. Or we're going to be absolutely crippled and not be able to get in the fight.
And that's what I think. I don't think that we're going to attack Israel. Personally, my
think
belief
we
is
will
that
either.
we are either destroyed by other nations, or there is so much inner turmoil within the U.S. that we are just useless.
Yeah, I think that's what I believe is going to happen as well.
Yeah. And if you go back and you look at other reports, different people talking about this, again, I'll say probably most notably Steve Quayle. The guy has a mind like a trap. He absorbs everything. The Chinese and the Russians have had deals for years of how they would divvy up the United States, how they could take over, and Russia would take basically the east side and China would take the west side.
Who takes the east?
Russia.
Okay. Won't need the mail order bride from Russia anymore.
Yeah, I don't think that's what they're going to send over.
Okay.
That's not what's going to happen.
So we think, and you guys listen to everyone, but so get some food, get your documents in order, get your family in order, pay attention to your kids and what's going on. I mean, my kid's back in school. My kid goes to a good old Southern Baptist kind of school, and they said we're going to school no matter what the government says. So they're back in classes, and she's tickled to death. She doesn't like the homework, but she is glad to be around people.
To be back, yeah.
And so, and we know there could be some COVID outbreaks. And, and they're saying, we'll deal with it. We'll shut little rooms down. We'll deal with it. We can always have the online learning.
Yeah.
But the goal is to get the kids, and I'm a huge fan of that. And I go to and fro all the time now. And I do wear a mask out of respect from others.
Yeah.
For others. But yeah, we are just, but so deal with your kids, talk about the situation. And because a lot of the public schools are still doing online learning, that means that kid's only interaction is through a phone.
Yeah. And, just going back on the whole thing, we're talking about people's mentality changes. People are falling away. If people, and I hate to say this, just knowing how people are, if people start to ghost you, they disappear in your life. You're wondering what the heck happened to them. You start seeing them behave differently. We kind of know that was going to happen too. There's going to be a separating of the wheat and the chaff, and you're going to see who people really are, and you're going to see it more and more day by day as things get worse.
So this is a true story. I haven't shared this. I think I've shared it with you. When this pandemic happened, if you can imagine, I've been a prepper for 20 years, longer than you. You're just a baby.
Mm-hmm.
You're like 10 years. And as soon as I got the first phone call from a friend and said, "Hey, Forrest, what's going on?" I kept a log. I went, okay, 1. And I kept a log of how many people contacted me that I had no contact with, meaning within 6 months. I'm talking high school friends that called me, and high school teachers, people I played basketball in college with, people I played volleyball with on the tour. All people over 54 people contacted me and asked me over like 3 months. And I'm still counting because so over 5 months, I guess it is. And I'm still counting because people will call me and goes, and they'll see the show or something. They'll contact me. And the only reason they're contacting me is because they know that I know somewhat what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And that was very interesting. That was, literally people I haven't talked to since high school. I had 2 people call me. And, I'm a nice guy.
The virtues of Facebook.
Yeah. I'm a nice guy. I'm like, "Hey, man, how you doing? You
But
dead yet?" No.
But how many of those people continue after you give them a little bit of advice?
I don't know.
That's part of my thing. Is I got the same thing,
Yeah.
and then I deleted everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I gave people information. I tell them what they needed to do. But then once people,
So
it is what it is.
I did panic. If you look at, I've erased everything I put on Facebook during that time. It's just nobody's business at this point. I was putting Facebook messages out and texting all my friends, "Go get food. The worst thing that can happen is you have more food than you've ever had. You're going to eat it anyway." I told hundreds of people, if not thousands of people, that. I'm talking in the very beginning days. And I got another story to share real quick. And that one thing that I did, I've had more people call me and thank me for doing that. It says, "You know what? I know Forrest's crazy, but you know what? If he's right, then," and they went and got food. So let me tell you a quick story, true story. And my mom's not in the chat room tonight, so that's great. So she and my family gets in there and will say some things every now and then. In January, I sent my mom a care package straight from Amazon. You know about this.
Oh yeah.
I sent her a mask. This is January when the first case hit like America, like the end of January, maybe first of I think it was February the 7th was the actual delivery date for it. She got a mask. She got a Tyvek suit, the booties, the goggles, gloves, the whole kit and caboodle. I sent it to her, and she calls me, Forrest, I just got a package and it says it's from you. I say, yeah. She goes, what is this? She had no clue. She goes, why did you send this to me? I said, Mom, just keep it. It'll make more sense. Maybe if it doesn't make sense in a few weeks, whatever. And now she tells all her friends that I did that. So that was sweet.
You're such a good son.
That was sweet of me. What?
Yeah, so sweet. Very humble.
Very, very. That was. I mean, it's hard to tap my. You
gotta work
my
out
head
more.
gets in the way as I hit my shoulder.
My bicep gets more.
So I know we said this again: food, guns, and ammo. What other things? I would say prescriptions, because right now we're short on a lot of prescriptions.
Yeah.
Prescriptions. Sorry. Yeah, make sure your newspaper subscription is
Subscribe to us
canceled.
on YouTube.
Yeah.
We don't have enough yet.
But your prescriptions, I would go and get months out. Because one thing, do you see all my fish antibiotics that I ordered?
I think you probably sent me 30 photos of them.
What happened was when the China thing, we closed the borders down to China. We couldn't get antibiotics for anyone, and now it's opening back up. But I predict if there's a second wave, if the dam breaks in China, called the Three Gorges Dam, if it breaks, drugs they're gone. I'm telling you, we're not going to be able to get drugs.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is just make sure you have enough food reasonably. Be thinking about where you can go if something happens, bugging out, plugging in what you need, building those relationships, because you're going to use the food. We know there's a food crisis coming.
And buy more dollars, right?
Dollars.
Invest in the dollar. Oh, you're going digital currency, aren't you? But some people have already bought silver.
I have silver.
Even at this
gold.
price.
Yeah. Well, I just bought 10 more ounces, and then I'll just tell everyone I'm only invested in gold via Glint. I have the Glint app. I love their services. It was easy to do. I get all my silver through JM Bullion.
That's where I get mine.
And I have a ton of XRP.
That's another digital currency.
That's another digital currency, blockchain base. I recommend everyone do their own research. I'm not saying that's going to be foolproof, but those are buffers that I'm taking. And
I'm doing Ethereum is what I've been in.
And then we both do Pi.
Pi.
Because that's a free crypto mining. But have some diversification. And I'm only keeping, at one point I was keeping $1,000 cash just sitting aside. I'm only going to keep 500. I'm going to take that and invest a little bit more. And another thing we've been doing is I've been going through and just getting rid of junk, cleaning out, just making sure if we have things that we don't need right now, I'm putting them on let go and stuff like that, and just saying, hey, let's offload this. And let's make sure we have funds.
I'm going to do something I shouldn't do. It would only help me.
Oh, okay.
Do you know your username for Pi?
No, I don't.
Is it Kyle?
Probably is.
Look it up real quick. Because maybe some of these people want free digital currency and they could help us as we help them. So you have teams and mining. This was created by like Stanford nerds.
Mine's Kyle 81283.
Okay, so look up this thing called Pi. Pi. It's a digital currency, and you actually mine it on your phone. It takes very little resources.
Yeah, it reminds you every day.
It reminds you every day. Every day you've got to start your mining again. And when you build teams, you actually get more currency.
Yeah.
Mine is Garvin. That's all you got to do. So if you go and it says who referred you, you put Garvin. And yours is what?
Kyle, Kyle.
KYLE.
812-83.
83. So you can join Kyle's team, which or my team.
It's been around.
You're
longer.
actually on my team, but I don't know if that helps me or not. It's not like network marketing kind of, but it kind of is. But we did. I mean, I have a lot of pie. We don't know exactly what it's going to be yet because they're getting ready to release that soon. I mean, they're getting ready to.
Everyone's going through a lot of regulations, and just so people understand, if they're not familiar with cryptocurrency, right now a lot of people are familiar with whatchamacallit, Bitcoin. And everyone knows that there was huge opportunities in Bitcoin. It's now selling it. I think it's 11, 12,000, somewhere around there. At one point, it was 30 cents. And that's kind of where XRP is right now. There has been a number of meetings with people from these companies talking about Bitcoin and blockchain and how these cryptocurrencies can actually work. And from what I have read and researched, the security behind a lot of these cryptocurrencies, especially Bitcoin, is not as secure as it would be via a blockchain market.
I do own one Bitcoin, which right now is like $12,000. I mean, I've told people that.
That is your thermal scope.
But you know the reason I bought this? I bought Bitcoin back when it was sub $100, so I could actually buy a rifle from someone, and I gave them 4 Bitcoins. Just imagine that.
It's an expensive rifle.
Because at one point, Bitcoin was $20,000 a Bitcoin.
Yeah, I'd move out of that right there. And it's not.
But I only had one at that. You know, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, and this is kind of a play on the markets because I think a lot of this is going to go once they say, hey, no more change, no more cash, must have the vaccine, must have digital currency.
So what if the EMP happens, man? That's one of the questions right there.
What happens if there's an EMP?
See, I'm not a big thing. I don't think an EMP is going to happen. It could.
If an EMP happens, I think it's going to be brought about by, like what I was said,
if
the Russia and the Chinese.
Happens, you're not going to be worried about currency.
Yeah, at that point, you're not going to be worried about anything other than surviving. You're probably going to be wanting to look over your head for parachutes, because at that point, there probably will be foreign troops.
There's not enough people. I don't know.
See, this one thing we'll disagree with, but I know we've talked about Mystery Babylon before and what happens, and I kind of stand by.
He thinks America is the great Mr. Babylon.
Yeah, and I think we're going to
in
be
the
picked
Bible,
over,
which means that actually God tells people in that area to flee.
Yeah,
you're not fleeing.
I want to.
Okay.
Let me tell you, if XRP hits some of these caps that they've been talking about, I'm out.
If you can imagine Mystery Babylon, everything bad happened. I mean, just the worst thing. And you know what? I'm not a believer of that, but I can see exactly why you do believe that, because I've studied it. And I go, well, I just have more knowledge about it than you do.
You think you do? You're probably one of those guys who believes it's the Vatican.
Oh my goodness. But so digital currency, it's not going to be anything. Absolutely. But the dollar goes down. So let me, I'm going to teach one of the principles I teach right now. You know where I'm going with this?
No, I don't.
I'm going to the world debt clock.
Oh.
You know where I'm going now?
Yes, I know exactly where you're going.
Okay. I'm going to go to the US debt clock. I have it on my phone. And so on there, if you've ever looked at it, it actually has all these little numbers that are flying by. And for some reason, it's I'm so far away from my house, my Wi-Fi doesn't work out here. Okay, so let me open that one more time. This will give you, I think, a good. Okay, here we go. So at the very bottom of the world debt clock, well, all these numbers are going, our debt and all this stuff, all the way to the bottom to the right. It has some categories, and one of the categories is money creation. And you know what I'm doing? Going here.
Yeah.
So on here, it actually has in the money creation at the very bottom, it says it has dollar to silver, and it has dollar or paper to gold, or dollar to gold. So right now, if the dollar crashed, if the totally system crashed, this tells us that 1 ounce of silver should be $4,060. That's the true value of silver. And how do they come up with the value of silver and precious metals? It's a formula that they put with the oil, with the economy, all this stuff. And if it happens, that is supposed to, and of course we know it's kept down for reasons by what do you call that when they keep it down? What's the word?
Suppressed.
But right now, if the economy crashed in the United States, and if it does in the United States, it will throughout the world, a 1 ounce of silver should be around $4,060.
My problem is how do you
Yeah.
spend it?
Well, gold is so that's a better investment. And gold was, I forgot what. Let me look, see if I can. Dollar to gold should be $30,000 an ounce.
Yeah.
So that's only a three multiple, because this is like 10 now, isn't it? Roughly.
Yeah.
And so the silver definitely. But so what I have taught to my group and other groups is this, and it's a stupid thing, but so let's say the economy crashes and they're going to reset and come out with another dollar figure. But the economy crashed in the 1920s, and people, they couldn't afford their mortgages. People lost their houses right and left. If they would have had enough silver, because silver went shoom,
yep,
they could have taken the silver and paid off their house and stayed in their house. So there's a mathematical formula. You're smart people. You can figure that out. It's probably less than 10,000. It depends on. I think I did the math. It's a $300,000 house. At the time, it was like $10,000 worth of silver. If it switched, you could have gone to the bank and paid off that entire mortgage.
That's assuming that it's reached those heights, and that's also assuming
that
number
in
is
the
growing.
past.
That number is growing.
No, it is
by
growing.
the day, because I remember whenever I first started buying, it was 1,200.
Yeah.
So it's one good thing is our debt goes up trillions and trillions of dollars. The
Mhm.
silver becomes technically worth more.
Right. But you also want junk silver too.
Yeah, smaller fractions of your silver. Yeah.
So everyone asks me, why don't you want gold? Because you don't want to have to buy a bottle of water with your gold coin.
Yeah, that's why I invested with Glint, because Glint actually does. I have 35 grams, and I can actually easily transfer that back over to multiple currencies.
You're gonna have to send me information. I have my gold in another. My gold's underneath that.
But mine's literally in my wallet. Well, I don't have it in my wallet right now, but there's actually a MasterCard that's linked to, so that I can easily buy, and it'll transfer over that money to that account.
Okay. Well, I tell you what, we're coming at the end, but if you have a question, I'll still have my pocket Bible from the service days. I have one of them. Matter of fact, there's a good story about that. Well, so what I'm going to tell you, what I've completed. I've completed like a couple books.
Yeah.
That are now, and so getting to the point of getting published.
Yep.
And one of them's been written for a couple years. And I actually had notes in my pocket Bible, the little New Testament thing,
Mm-hmm.
that I knew if I found it, I wanted to put some of my thought process from when I was like 25 years ago. And I found it. And
so when you were my age,
it wasn't as important as I thought it was going to be, because I'm like, I remember when I wrote something down about that, and I went and looked at it and I go, oh, okay. So I didn't really use it in my book. So interesting, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why that came up, but I did find one of my old military Bible, and we always carry in a pack.
Any other questions?
Any questions? How about people throwing their precious metals in the streets? Okay, that is in the Bible.
Yeah, like I've said, I think there's going to be a short gap.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we're just going to go
Right.
dollar claps, everything claps, done. And there's going to be a short time frame that you're going to be able to barter with it or trade it in to do something with it. But that's why I'm buffering that and going with some cryptocurrency, because I think that even if my gold and my silver is worthless, if my crypto, like they're saying, is going to be backed by gold, potentially by silver, that blockchain formula that they're working on, that will give me some more time than physical assets.
And also, I think when it talks about people going to throw their gold and silver in the streets, I think there's several things. I believe there's several factors to that. One, if you get caught with gold and silver, they'll kill you immediately. Two is it may not. You have to have the mark of the beast, and so it really means nothing, gold and silver, because if you don't have that, you can't buy anything. So the currency is your mark in a sense. And three, food will be way more precious than gold and silver.
Yeah.
So anyway, there's a lot of things there. So we have questions coming in, which is awesome.
Oh,
I just got to see here. Check Doomsday Clock. Oh, there's a Doomsday Clock. Hang on. I saw some questions. I'm scrolling up. EMP. Okay, now I'm going down. Here we go. Believe the rapture, but said that we're going to talk about the rapture in 2 weeks and when it's going to happen. And I'm not kidding. It's going to rock you. But keep in mind that gold and silver is only is valuable. Anyone consider it true. Learn to pray hardcore. Yep. Still pocket Bible. Okay. I went too far up. Here we go. To the questions. How are these people? Okay. Gosh. It skips on me when I do that. First, folks wants to know you and Kyle buying gold and silver and gold. There's a bunch of great companies. Don't you? Yeah. I've always used. Did I turn you on to JM Bullion or no?
Okay. No, I've been using them.
I use JM Bullion. I'm not saying they're the best. I'm just saying that that's the company I've used.
No.
There's one called Gainesville or something in Florida that's great or whatever.
I've used only silver.com and JM Bullion.
And I have used silver.com as well.
Yeah.
I have. That's the two places I buy my gold. Now, here's the problem, people. There's no silver to buy. There's very little silver to buy.
Like right now, I think the last 10 ounces I got were some randoms.
Now you can buy silver coins that are worth 100, 200 because the value in them is the actual historical. There's less of them, and they're wanted because they're desirable.
Yeah.
That's different than buying just gold. So anytime you buy silver, you really want to buy this year's silver because it's always the cheapest, and you want to buy in uncirculated and all that. And that's the cheapest you can get.
Yeah.
You can buy, but it's hard to find.
Yeah, I don't think I have any 2020 coins, even though I bought from this year.
Yeah.
I think they're all random years.
I mean, if you go JM Bullion right now, I'm going to do that right now as we speak because I have their app, and I actually get my silver prices from the app because I do. I can go right now and store. I'm going to just see if they have any main American Eagles. Okay, that aren't they're $33 a piece right now. They do have random years at $33 a piece. That's the one you want because from there it only goes up when you particular a year or anything else.
Yeah.
But that would be the cheapest silver you can buy from JM Bullion is $33.34 an ounce. And the more you buy, the bigger discount you get though.
Yeah.
And just think, let me just say something. 3 months ago, that was $12 an ounce. That coin you could buy for $12. Is it 3 months ago? It was 3 months ago. Look, I can go back to my charts here. So, yeah, look at that. Well, in June, well, that didn't really tell us. But anyway, y'all can look up the charts. Okay, let's look for some more questions. Here, what's the gold and silver company again? Yeah, we do JM Bullion. Silver.com is another good one.
Yep.
These are just people we know legitimate sites.
Yep.
We don't know which one you're going to get a better deal from. Tell them you know Forrest and Kyle, they'll give you 25.
No, they won't.
No, they won't. So let me see other questions here. Now the app, it's called Pi, P-I, and it looks like the
symbol.
The symbol Pi.
Yeah.
and it's an app, and every day you got to go in there, and that's what I don't know if they can see. Yeah, you can't see that, but anyway, I'm earning because I have more people on my team. I'm earning more money right now. Did you see? Look what I'm earning per hour.
Oh, yeah. No, I earn like 25.
Yeah,
Something like that.
and I'm earning he's earning 0.25. I'm earning 1.18.
Yeah.
So the more people you have on your team, so I'm trying to get people on your team, but I need people on my team because. Okay, let's see if there's any more questions here. There are. I just got to find them. Forrest, folks, okay. I already read that in like 5 times. I start. Brass and lead. Precious metals to me are brass and lead. I guess that's
I
in
can
bullets.
understand I'm heavily invested there as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
No worries.
Yeah. A nano wallet. Barter and trade. I'm telling you, barter and trade is going to be food.
No.
People think cigarettes and alcohol. That's too big for me to carry around. Okay, here's some questions. 20. Okay, Kyle, please repeat your source names for your conspiracy theory research.
Oh gosh, probably the best ones I would say off the top of my head. I love Stephen Bendanoon, Steve Quayle,
And what's the pastor's name?
Paul Begley.
Paul Begley.
Yep. Paul I'm iffy about because he promotes a lot of other stuff, but he does put out some good resources. But he's definitely making his money while he's doing all this. Doug Hagman is another good one for podcasting. I love listening to.
My conspiracy theories, I guess I listen to or watch the X22 report on YouTube. He comes out with like a couple videos every day, and I have faithfully been watching his videos. That is conspiracy. That's a conspiracy channel right there. That's QAnon.
Yep.
And he kind of goes through all that. Okay. So let me see here. I have okay. I bought 10 silver eagles dated 20 today. Oh, so Elizabeth bought some silver as well. Let's see here. Tobacco and liquor. See, are they going to be sure?
I think maybe you want to have seeds and maybe a distiller to make alcohol, but I don't know that I want to stockpile it that much unless you were just in like a really good spot where you feel, hey, I can hunker down here for 5 years and I'm fine. Otherwise, you want to be mobile.
Okay. Yep. What's food? I mean, they're asking about barter items. So, I mean, just think right now when the pandemic started, I had a lot of N95 masks.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point, my wife goes, "Are you going to give all these away?" Because, come on, guys, let's be real. We have what we want the wife to see here, but what we don't want the wife to see, we have somewhere else. And she's looking at the N95 mask that I brought out of a tote, them big yellow totes. I don't know.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, you need to say this could be really. She goes, and with great concern. I mean, because she liked the idea of us giving it, but she also loves our family. And I finally said, we have more.
I think probably really good barter items are everyday household items or toiletries, things like that you're going to use. And being able to make those things. I mean, honestly, one of the things I've thought about too is just something as simple as razor blades. Having like scissors, things that people don't necessarily think about, but you actually really need a lot of. Soap. Being able to make soap.
You should possibly invest in that now.
I'm trying to say. It was awful.
I have to say, no, can I say that and still be a man? I have to say, I will say this. You are one of the best smelling men I've ever smelled. And it's because of what you put, the beard oil that you use.
I have an extensive cologne collection as well.
But you use beer. I mean,
Yeah, I don't have it on right now, but no.
but you and I would go, and it's an oil, so it stays. And I'm like, dude,
There's
Kyle's
nothing
smelling
wrong with
fresh
still
here.
trying to look and smell good for the apocalypse.
I cannot believe I brought that up. But I actually got a bottle of it because I liked it so much. You remember that?
Oh yeah.
I did get a bottle of it.
You tried to grow it out for a little bit though.
Yeah. Okay. So any prepping academy workshops or programs for teenagers? Well, I have a young lady that I'm going to be meeting with in the next 30 days that I'm going to be coaching her she lives on a homestead, and she's going to be starting a podcast about younger generation preppers and teenage age from like high school to college.
Gotcha.
And that's going to be her audience that she's going to try to focus to, and I'm going to help her, and I'm sure she'll have great information. You know what? I'll be honest with you. Our podcast, anytime there's a cuss word that's ever mentioned, but they're pretty clean on the most part. I mean, you say 3-letter words, you don't really say 4-letter words.
Only when I'm driving.
But so some of our podcasts are great to listen to. Matter of fact, a lot of the prepping podcasts are pretty clean for kids. So ammo, I'm looking here. I'm on your pie team. Someone joined. I don't know.
There we go.
Let's see who they picked. I'm sure it's you because you do need help more than I do. Let's see here. Sorry, guys. So you're earning currency right now. We don't know what that's going to be yet, but it has to be you.
Where we go?
I don't know. I can't tell. But we're earning toilet paper rolls, paper. I'm so far behind here. Toothbrushes. Oh, you don't need to brush your teeth during that. I think an EMP will happen more.
No,
Once
but I
people-
think it's you. It's not me.
Okay. Hand tools. Great way to stop piles going to hard to compost. Of course, that's awesome about the podcast. Develop focus teenage generation. Yes. So I'm going to meet this young lady, and I love her. And I've met them. We go to prepper camp, and we've already been in touch, and we're going to meet to talk about this. And she's going to be at prepper camp, and I'm going to help her. And so, yes, that is going to happen. Teenagers, because you know what? I work with a lot of students, a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, literally hundreds of students, and your kid's one. And they're interested in this stuff, but they as soon as they bring this stuff up with their mom and dad, because most people, aren't crazy like us.
And I think too, for the younger generation right now, especially with the influences in social media, whether it be Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all this stuff, there's so many things distracting people from what they actually need to be doing. I think that's really big to kind of say, like, hey, kind of cut out the fodder and try to be functional in your everyday life, because staring at this all day, unless you're trying to actually plan things, research, figure things out, it's a waste.
Did Kyle say that he thought we've EMP? You don't think you don't think EMP is going to happen, or you?
I
do?
think it can happen, but I think if it happens, it's probably going to be a precursor for an invasion.
Okay, everyone go to this website. It's called the blackskyevent.com. I think it's the blackskyevent.com. The Black Sky Event. It could be blackskyevent.com. Just look it up. It's a documentary that's coming out within the next few months. Guess what? I'm in it.
I think you told me about it.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
coming out. Finally, it's been like 2 years in the making.
Yeah.
But it's coming out. very, very soon. It's called the Black, and it's all about EMPs and hardening.
And I mean, I will
hardening
say,
our
whenever it
grid.
comes to some of that stuff, I'm just as concerned about an EMP as I would be a coronal mass ejection, something like that, Carrington event. And I do keep all of my higher price electronic items that I'm kind of saving. I do keep those in Faraday bags.
Yes, I got a Faraday thing right there. I mean, that's not my main. This is kind of a
Like backup.
this entire building. We're out in the woods, away from my house. This is if the crap hits the fan in Charlotte, and I have to stay here for a while.
Yeah,
this is not my place or go-to place, or even my supplies kind of thing. Prepper Camp is still on. It is sold out. Supposedly, it's sold out, but it's still on. We do have a bug out for PrepperNet in October. It's still on, and we're going to a park near Raleigh, North Carolina. That's all I know. I'm not on the planning team of that. We've done this for 2 hours and 10 minutes. We probably should. Black Sky event. Elizabeth is a saint. I love that lady. She's my Yadkin Valley leader.
Oh, cool.
Dude, she is you want to be on this lady's team.
Gotcha.
People would probably pay millions of dollars to have this lady with them. She's got so much knowledge. I will say this though, and Elizabeth, I love you. If there's 100 people talking in a crowd at the same time with a blindfold on, I could tell you exactly where she is because her voice is so distinguished. That is true, and I love her. Okay, a commercial. Go to sunoven.com, buy a Sun Oven. That's my company. We are shipping them out. It's like crazy. You need a Sun Oven. Do you have a Sun Oven?
No, I don't.
You've been wanting one though, haven't
I've
you?
been wanting one.
So
Just
look,
waiting on a
there's one
donation.
right above my head.
Yeah.
So go to Sun Oven, go to PrepperNet, join our Facebook page, join our website page. You know what? It's free. Fine. Join free. People do it all the time. Hundreds of people are joining this literally a day right now. But if you really like what we're doing, if you like Kyle, because Kyle's going to come back on, I forget how good Kyle is at this. Dude, I'm giving you way too many, more compliments tonight than I think I've ever given you.
I know. And you didn't threaten to kill me. Well, only once.
Well, I do have my gun here and my knife here.
Yeah.
And so, hey, become a premium member. It's $40 a year, and the content you get will make you skinnier.
I don't think that's true. I think you could be sued for that.
Oh.
No.
Smarter. More prepared?
More prepared.
Okay, more prepared. We'll go with that. So, skinnier. I kind of like that though. First, when did you buy the company? Oh, so that was last July. June. Last June. So me and a couple guys have So yes, me and a couple guys purchased it. Paul, the former president, he was the owner. There was a lot of shareholders. We bought all the shareholders out, and Paul is still there. And so it's that's what I do as a day job now, and plus another company we just bought. So
And I don't do anything.
he's looking for a job. No, are you?
Yeah. I'm just trying to figure out the next step. We'll see. We'll
So,
see.
hey guys, I know it's late. If y'all want to go, y'all can go. You don't have to stay. Okay, I'm looking for more questions here. But the Sun Oven is the world's best products. I didn't see it $40. Yeah, you need to spend $40, Lisa A. Okay, but Sun Oven, I don't even have. Oh, I have pots and pans. I mean, I have everything. I don't have a Sun Oven to show. Oh, there's one right there too. That one's I designed that cover for that, and we sold. I don't want to give information away.
I like the color. It's like a coyote brown.
Ton of Sun Ovens covers. We made a cover because I thought I have a Sun Oven because I've had one for years. Man, I hate these things flapping around. I designed the cover, and I designed something else that's getting ready to come out too.
Very nice.
So, and we are going to change the world with another invention. Gosh, in my head, I'm sorry. I'll say the team has come up with, mostly me, has come up with that. Do you know about that? Don't say it, because we're going through all the
I might.
trademarks and everything right now.
I think you may have mentioned something.
Okay, we're going through all the trademarks right now. So that's post rapture. Okay, okay, guys, I think we're done. Any final words before you die? I mean, any final words, Kyle, about? You've made everybody depressed.
You guys are welcome. No, just my final word would just be: you just need to get it done. You just need to finally go ahead and. This is what I get to tolerate. Sorry about the minor earthquake.
Look at this. My sun oven cover I designed right there. You want me to hand that to you?
Oh yeah, free.
Yeah.
No, I think just everyone being prepared as they possibly can be. Don't go overboard. Don't spend yourself into debt. But then it really comes down. I think the spiritual aspect of it right now is really key.
So here's what I need everybody to do. Kyle and I would do a podcast every week if Kyle did something with his internet. That way he could stay at home and I could stay here and we could do it.
I mean, we need to test it out and see how it works. And yeah,
so it's his fault. But we love doing the podcast.
Yeah, we do. And unlike a lot of guests on other shows, I can actually talk for 2 hours and,
Well, Dr. Bones and Nurse Amy can do that
too. Weeks I'm not here.
So anyway, I don't have anything else.
No.
We covered conspiracy theories, things you need to do, join PrepperNet or die, you'll get skinny. That's it.
That's it for
so
me.
When are you going to be back?
Well, I'm kind of free. I'm not really doing much.
Well, dude, we got to get your internet. We got to maybe you stand on top of your house with your cell phone and we can do it like that.
Maybe we'll figure it out.
No, there's not we. Because I've even
out.
offered money, I think, to help you with the problem.
I'll figure it out. I think you offered wire.
I did offer wire,
and
which I have.
Wire.
I have
I'm good on
Cat 5, Cat 6. We can string that thing like 500 yards. We can go to your neighbor's house and go, hey, excuse me, and just click it in their modem.
Yeah, I can think of a neighbor I could do that to.
Okay. So, okay, guys, we are done. We're out. Peace. Hey, you can send us a comment or question. You can call Kyle at 1-800. No, I'm kidding. But we can, but send us a message. You can go to Prepping Academy. Since we're Prepping Academy, there's a contact there. Anywhere on PrepperNet. And if you mention Kyle's name, I share the email with him. Kyle does also do consulting on phone consulting or to your retreat or property or group. We both do that. And the last few ones I've tried to hand to you. You did one or something.
Yeah, I've done a couple.
And one guy wanted me just because he liked me, but he does consulting. So if you have questions, you can literally pay Kyle and he will help you through I've trained him well. I like how you're going.
Yeah.
So anyway, you can contact us. So let us know. So we are done here. Thanks for joining us. It's late, and we should be finished by the time Trump speaks tonight.
Oh, great.
So, okay, we're out of here. Peace out.
Later.